So there's 15 spaces to leaving Egypt. There's the Kadesh Urchatz, which is a prep, then Egypt, prep Exodus, prep the Promised Land. Kadesh Urchatz, creating sacred space, and then Urchatz, brainwashing, and then he does Karpas Yachatz Magid, that's Egypt, swim in your tears, you're broken by Yachatz, and then Magid, tell the truth, and then there's another prep, Rachza Maitzi, Rachza, brainwashing and being cleansed, and then Maitzi, grab your brokenness, again Exodus, Matzah Marer Koirech, satisfying simplicity, hug your addictions, is the Marer Koirech, it's all a juicy sandwich, then prep Shulchan Aruch and Tzafon, digest the taste of your freedom, and then Tzafon, close the container. Beit Achal Nitza, Promised Land, speaking your ecstatic gratitude, revel in your magical life is Hallel, and Nirtza, no one left behind. I wanted to speak about two sons that are important to me. Not that the Tom and the Shened Elisha are irrelevant. They're like the parv, they're like the kind of like the light of the. They're like the white on the art. You also need white in order to have art. So they're the ones who are parv, and parv have a very interesting role in religion, in groups. They're not trying to be stick out, but they're not protesting. They're not the chacham. They're not the rasha. They're like either way. And parv would be a guy that he didn't get married, right? Like talking about the Jews and the continuity and what's important. It's a religion of children. It's a religion of making families and just constantly making more babies and trying to get as many people involved. So the chacham is he's let's say the good guy. The rasha marries the goy. He's the intermarried, and the Tam and the Sheni de Elisha is one who just never found he never found shidduch, so he stays single, and the Sheni de Elisha is the one who was not capable of getting married, but he wanted to, and because the rasha took action, he's considered bad, but really the cruelty is what we do to the rasha did the right thing. He chose happiness. He didn't fulfill his mission, but he didn't have an option. It's not like he threw out his kosher Jewish wife and grabbed the shiksa. He took what he had, what was in front of him. And Tom and the Sheni de Elisha said, if I just do nothing, at least I won't be attacked. If I don't leave or I don't break the rules, I'll just sit around, I'll be positive, so I won't be attacked. This is a very important part of the four sons, but we want to talk about the two sons. So the Chacham he's not clever, he's not a philosopher, he's not a free thinker, and he's not super clever wise. He's a follower, he's a believer. Clearly, that's a fact of the Agada. You look at what's a smart person today, what's an educated person today, less likely to believe in myth and pseudoscience and stuff like that. The rasha is not, the rasha isn't either a free thinker, and he isn't either clever or a leader. He's nothing. He just says, I'm not into this stuff. What is this that you guys are doing? He's curious, or maybe he is interested, but he doesn't consider himself to be part of the kahal. He says, "Lefisha haitzias atzme min haklal kafar beikir." So this is when the religion becomes ethnicity, a group. And then there's questions in the Jewish library. As I mentioned before, the Haggadah is a very important part of the Jewish library, and heritage and art. So in the library we talk about the Rambam and the 13 principles that he created, of principles of faith, to answer the Arab kalam. He didn't really create it for all time for people to persecute each other based on these, whoever falls into the category of believing or not in these 13 principles, but he creates it and says, if you don't believe it, you're taking yourself out of the kahal. So then again, the question is Judaism ethnicity, or is it a faith? Right? Because in a way, it's like he's giving you a method and a technique to get out of the kahal. By just not believing, you become no longer Jewish, and then nobody bothers you to shake lulav, and you could take a break. No one's hoping that you come back because you're out, And that annoying, creepy feeling when someone constantly hopes that one day he'll win you over, you're free from that. Like some boy asked his rabbi, is there a process of leaving? If it doesn't work out for me, this Jewish faith, is there a process of leaving? Now, obviously, the way Judaism, because it was a close-knit ethnic religion, so it was limited. It was limited to becoming one of those main power religions like Christianity and Islam. But at the same time, you get to keep all these people like Einstein and Spinoza, who never renounced their Yiddishkeit. Not only that, but Spinoza's family was forced to convert, and they did. And they converted back. Once they had the freedom, they converted back to Yiddishkeit, to Judaism. So you have a beautiful, confusing concept of whether it's an ethnicity or a faith. But because it's so confusing and vague, that's why it keeps on figuring itself out, So the Rasha is not, he's neither a guy that gives people doubts, and he's not too clever. He doesn't contaminate or poison anyone's mind with truths and facts of education. He's not a great philosopher. He's not a great historian. He's not a great scientist, he doesn't free anyone. He doesn't create this freedom that to people through like a Sheni B'Chamishi, where you give someone the tools who's already not considered part of the kahal. He doesn't show up, he doesn't daven, he doesn't keep Shabbos, but he's still afraid that some food is treif, and if you eat it, somehow magically it's going to give you bad luck. So he still has that programming in him. So of course the scientist, the philosopher, the educator can show you that there's nothing contaminated about the food. There's nothing contaminated about people. There's no race gene. There's no evidence that there is one person is different than the other. We're all one human race. And once someone understands this fully, then all those indoctrination and fears go away. And then you're free. You're free of just something that's evidently not true. So the Rasha is not that. The Rasha just says, I'm not part of you. So what does that mean, part of you? Does it mean that he's not part of your denomination? Is he running for a different type of Judaism? Maybe he wants a different group. And Judaism had different groups all the way back, for as long as we can go all the way back to the Israelites. There was never one monolithic group. The Torah says that there is. We spoke about it last week between the Aliyahs by the Parsha, by Yaakov Pekudei. About Moshe and Kairach. Was it possible that there was one point in history where there was the one true group and the others were not? And the answer is absolutely not. There was always different. There's different Torahs. We have the Torah edited by Ezra, but this doesn't deny the fact that people had other types of versions of the Torah and other mythology based on Moses and Abraham and other stuff, stories that don't match the stories that we have based on Ezra and so on. So is the Rasha saying I'm joining a different type of Judaism, or is he saying I'm just going to run on the streets loose and become a hippie in the 60s? What's the Rasha saying, and when was this Haggadah written? Haggadah was written before we had the real European Western philosophy. So it's just about being part of the Kahal, which is something that we take for granted today, because today nobody's running away, no one's converting to Christianity. That's number one. It's not an in thing to do today. Back in the day it was very in to do. It was just as in to do that as it is in for Ivanka Trump to become an Orthodox Jew, because she was pressured by her husband's family, not by some shtibel or shul or class or group or whatever. Now, and the next thing is that the Rasha doesn't claim to be leaving. Today, you don't have the concept of someone leaving Bechlal and saying, I'm not a Yid anymore. I don't want to carry this name. Even Einstein would call himself a Yid. So you don't have that issue. So both. You don't have the Rasha going somewhere else. Hi, how are you? Had fun today?
Yeah.
Very good.
Hi.
So you don't have the Rasha saying I'm not a Yid, and you don't have the Rasha saying I'm a believer, but I'm a Christian. So you, those two things you don't have, and that's the important part. And the Chacham is really, if you narrow it down, he's just a good guy that says, what are the laws that Hashem said that we should do? So he's basically saying, I'm ready to roll, I'm game, I'm what's the party? Let me check in. So the Chacham is really like the Tam and the Sheni de Elisha. We just call him the Chacham because we need such guys. We want more followers.